Hello. Am I being recorded? Okay, good. So today we're going to go ahead and use my rubric created from the text Don't Make Me Think and testing it to 4 websites, xbox.com, crunchyroll.com, udemy.com, and canva.com. Going to go ahead and apply what I have written down here and seeing how well these websites do. So we're going to go ahead and just start off with the xbox.com, and we will start out with the layout. So there's a clear way that every section here is laid out. The pictures are bordering or act as a border for the sections of these, of the, what do they call it? Billboard, if you will. Everything's nice and big. There's clear hierarchies. The conventions used, I would probably say icons. They're used well and laid out well. Boxes around your clickable items, a little bit of different changing color as well. You of course have your Microsoft logo and Xbox logo on the top left, and your navigation up top. It is done well in terms of making sure that everything's clickable, or if it is clickable, it is defined so with the underline. Everything seems to be working so far. Windows, it looks like the top sends you to Windows. Oh, okay, that makes sense now. This is more for Microsoft oriented, and then your Xbox oriented options. So there's some a bit of a clear indication that way. I mean, I had to click and find out that it would take me to a Microsoft, but it's there. Which I simple back hit and I'm back to the main page. So that's always good as well in terms of the layout. Let's see here. In terms of clarity and simplicity, the site is again pretty clear. The sections are sectioned off very well. The pictures are bordering what sections are clickable, or what sections belong to what, I should say. I wonder if there is FAQs. I'm sure there is. Support and feedback. Usually they will have frequently asked questions, and I guess not. Doesn't look like it. So that could be, that could be more clearly laid out in terms of clarity. Otherwise, the things, the conventions used do work, so that's always nice. Let's go ahead and move out to the navigation. The navigation itself was good. You're able to scroll down, go to Xbox games, head there, get your genres, fighting, and then have them pop up. Everything seems to be working well. You have your shopping cart if you need to, so the navigation seems to be working well. And there's always the search button or search bar up top, which is always helpful in terms of navigation if you want to take that route, or if you would prefer, you always have there your clickable options. So it does help out on those both ways. Here's maybe the ask help right at the bottom of the page. I wonder if that's at the bottom of every page though. Doesn't look like it. There's a get back to the top, which is always nice. Those buttons are always nice. And if you click back, and you're back at the front page. So again, navigation is well placed. For time, I would say if you knew what you were doing, if you know this site is geared towards a specific audience. If you come here, everything is laid out very clearly. I think the time constraints don't necessarily apply to this website, or I shouldn't say that. Maybe looking at my criteria here. There is a bit too many options, I guess, in terms of saving you time. But if you were to say want to go and start shopping for games, then that information goes away. You are able to start looking at it, and it seems to be saving you time. You've got the ideal thing savings here up on the front page. So it could be better in terms of making it too flashy, but it seems to do the job. Accessibility, real quick, the one thing we should probably check is to see if the wording changes at all, and it does not seem like it does, even not at all. So accessibility, probably not the greatest, or not to a good start anyways. I would definitely look into that more. But to save on time, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Crunchyroll. So Crunchyroll, it seems like, well, let's just to be sure, let's go ahead and shift it back to recommended levels. Okay, it did seem to increase the type, so that's a good sign for sure. Just a bit. It doesn't seem to mess with the layout as well too much, so that's good to see. In terms of layout, you have your clearly defined area where things are. Spring 2018 simulcast, here are your episodes, so that's good. Let me think. You've got your forums clearly laid out. Again, the wording could use a bit more enlarging, and you can always do Control Plus and do that, so that'll help you out. But then you'll have the accessibility issues. Say if you were in a phone, this probably might not be the best way to view this site. If they've got an application, that's probably your best way of going. But the accessibility is somewhat there, so that is good to see. In terms of time, does it get you to the point, or is it to the point? I would say so. It's got your episodes, links to episodes right away. This is what this site is. It's, a streaming site. So it's very clear on what it's trying to provide. And featured shows, very, very clear. Let's see here, layouts and navigation. Let's see here, you got your shows and clearly defined, clearly clickable as well in terms of navigation, or in terms of layout, or navigation, sorry. You're able to click and add to queue if you would like to. Again, very clearly defined in terms of what's clickable, which is very, very nice to see. Your background and your foreground are very clearly defined as well. It being static, the background, and your movable foreground keeps the focus on up front, and it definitely keeps them away. I wouldn't say there's too much noise In terms of the background, maybe a little bit of a distraction, but if you're looking for a show, you've got your title covers here, so that alone I think will distract you enough to back away from this here. Go ahead and move on to the next one though, to keep this somewhat short. Udemy. We'll go ahead and start out with the navigation, or I guess let's test out the time saving. We'll connect with Facebook because most people have Facebook, right? So we'll go ahead and connect. Takes you to this, pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory, it looks like, so that's good in terms of clarity and simplicity. I do have a Udemy account, so it brings up my courses, all clearly defined. Videos are clickable, and they show that they're videos, so that's, again, very clear. You've got your ratings, your progression as well. Let's test to see if this will go higher. It is at very large already, so we'll go to medium and see. Whoops, wrong one. It doesn't seem to have changed much, so this probably isn't the best in terms of accessibility. We can try again though. Settings, very large. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's changing much. I'll go ahead and refresh it and see what it does. Nope. Not changing. Maybe a slight increase. But yeah, not too much. So we'll go to the front page. Conventions are being used again with this site. You've got your top left logo and site name. Let's see here. Easily navigated, I would say. You've got your wording here. I mean, I would say it's a little bit busy, especially with these pop-ups. I don't know if that time-saving aspect of the website is really being used, but the navigation itself I think is pretty clear. It is hover though, which again, for accessibility purposes, I don't think is the greatest option. I think clicking and getting somewhere will work, but it does have that in your other options here. But again, I think it's a little bit too busy in terms of its layout and what it's trying to accomplish. I don't think this right here is very necessary at a quick glance, or maybe it is. Some people might like it that way. Bottom information is made available. You've got your copyright, so it's being updated, which is nice. Mobile apps, so it's mobile accessible. That's always good. Accessibility there. Let's see here. Can change language again. More accessibility features. Other than that, though, it's very busy, and I don't know if that necessarily is a good thing or a bad thing for this website. In general, it does have a search bar, so you can always search what you want. That's always nice. But overall, yeah, I would say it's definitely a bit more busy. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, and then at the end I will go ahead and give an overall, or give my scores on in my sections. The next site we got here is Canva. Canva.com. Their homepage being a little bit too crazy in my opinion. I don't think this is all necessarily useful, especially if it's going to hinder the load times. I already have the page loaded. I don't know how much that really affects it, but you've got your navigation here. Again, it's hover, so I don't know if clicking learn takes you anywhere. It does not, so that's good. You're not having the both being mixed up, so that's a bit more clear. There is a lot of options right off the bat, so if you're new to this, time saving might not be the greatest, or might not have been looked at for the greatest. You've got very simple and clear login features though, as well as logging in with Google and Facebook, so your accessibility there is always helpful.